And one of the things that evolved is also, I think, in the next image, Matt Devine and Malcolm Leland's sculptural work has now incorporated in some of your more recent designs. Is that part of that progression about learning and moving forward the vocabulary? I mean,
well, I think besides sitting up here, the scariest thing I've ever done is actually work with Malcolm and Matt on that sculpture there. You know, here I'm developing this building, and I've got this guy named Malcolm Leland's talking about having a tree grow out of my swimming pool and climbing out of metal and climbing up the wall. And you know, it's like, whoa, you know, I'm supposed to honor this guy. Do I tell him no way, that's never going to happen, or do I just let it go? So this control thing started to get out of my hands, and it was very scary for me because I didn't understand what it was going to. And the fact that Matt worked on the fabrication of that with Malcolm was fabulous, and the fact that Malcolm, that Matt Devine, artist, good friend of mine, is helping me with my buildings now, putting ornament on it, is beautiful because I think it's great to work with artists. You know, you look back, and you know, Geary, when he started off, he knew all these great architects and artists, and hopefully I'll look back, you know, in 10 years, and Matt Devine stuff will be selling for cajillions of dollars, and I'll have it, and it'll all work out great. But the artist community needs to work with the architectural community in San Diego, and I'm proud to be part of some of that's going on.
Well, I think as you leave Prospect and you see the emblem that is Malcolm Leland's work, it subtly becomes public art. Although it's on a private residence,
Right.
on a privately owned lot, because it's so visible, it actually is almost as if you've given a little bit of public art back to the La Jolla street scene. Certainly, Matt Devine's work on the Union Building is facing the street. I mean, we get to appreciate some of this work. Do you see a little bit of a legacy in there, or is this just an accident?
You know, I hope it becomes a legacy that I can continue in each building. I firmly believe that if Malcolm's piece wasn't there or Matt's pieces weren't on the Union, they wouldn't be as good. I really believe that, you know, just as I've got the wrestler here, you know, just taking that simple thing and adding something silly or something beautiful to it calls attention to it. I do think a strange thing is I had Sammy Maywood, who's a friend of ours. He's kind of a pompous La Jollonian that lives in a Hansel and Gretel house. But I say that in a very endearing way. Sammy knows everything about every wine that's ever existed and the best of the wines and this and that and da-da-da, and he's been to all the greatest places in the world. And I said, hey, Sammy, you got to come over and see our house. And Sammy's like, oh, yeah, I'd love to come see it. It's like, oh, are you kidding me? I really don't want to go there. He's thinking, I don't want to go there because I don't want to tell Jonathan how sucky his house really is. Sammy gets there with Dawn, same vanity, and there's like, wow, this is really beautiful. How can modern architecture actually be beautiful? Forget if they like it or not. It's pretty to them because they're from this Hansel and Gretel house they have, Camino de la Costa. And that's a huge compliment. We were talking about writers and so forth and critics. The real critics are the common people that sort of understand it on a certain lower level, not this highbrow level. But if you can hit the highbrow and the lowbrow and the middle brow, I think that's a sign of success. People that understand it all.
So as the Hansel and Gretel dweller enters this space, were they overwhelmed? Were they just said, hey, it's more comfortable and livable than I thought? I mean, they had some sort of visceral reaction by way of it being so different from
I never said it was comfortable. The furniture is not comfortable. That I didn't say. I think they were just overwhelmed with the fact that you just didn't know what was behind those walls. And like, wow, look at this beautiful garden and this swimming pool and all these windows all open up. Well, that's kind of Southern California living, you know. And instead of just, they've got a door that opens up and goes onto their pool. That's out there, and it's like these traditional separated elements. I think that they got to understand that there's a way you can make architecture out of a house.
And again, as you say, making architecture out of a house, this common thread that keeps nagging at me is this you're so lackadaisical and, oh, it's serendipity. No, I'm just moving through life and things are happening. But I have to ask, is it really the nature of your thinking that this life is just unfolding in front of you, or do you not feel like you're in command and control of this, or is it just your playful way of saying, well, yeah, I'm here, I got here?
You know, I don't know. I collect cars, and I had to go to the DMV for the state of California because I have a wholesale dealer's license so I don't pay sales tax when I buy and sell these expensive cars. And I swear, the lady behind the glass thing told me to fill this thing out, and for the life of me, I thought I was so freaking stupid. I couldn't fill out the stupid form how she wanted it. So you look at some stuff that's so simple, but it isn't. And you look at some stuff and you go, well, that's so complicated, but for me, it's so simple. So, you know, I get teased a lot by the kids, my two kids, you know, how stupid and, you know, maybe I'm not that smart and stuff like that. But there's got to be something going on there. There's something going on there. I'm not sure what it is.
You're good at only some things.
Yeah, and it's not drug related. It could be alcohol related, but you know, it is, Keith, it is weird how that all works out. And you know, we've talked about this a little bit before. My wife's away. She's in Nice studying French right now. It must be nice, right? So she's there doing that 12 hours a day or whatever she's doing. And I've been with my wife for 28 years, plus the other 4 when we were dating before getting married. And we've always been this kind of this yin and yang piece. So I've always had 100% more of me around me. So like if you're dealing with something or another person, they're only their person. I always have this extra brain and person that's part of me. And I really understand. I don't know if I've always understood that, but I'm really starting to understand that now as I'm searching for what am I doing next and should I do this or should I do that? She's always been there for me to do that. And I sincerely believe I would not be here today, without a doubt, if it had not been for her.
You wouldn't be literally
not
here
a chance. I wouldn't be in San Diego. You know, I wouldn't go what I would be doing, but without a doubt, that partnership, you know, be it my wife, be it my business partner, has made me successful. It's 99% of everything that's happened.
And when you say that's 99%, there's a small percent. I don't know if it's a fraction of 1%, but there have been people like Brett Farrow and Sebastian Mariscal and even Mike Burnett who have been within your world and have, you know, obviously identities and portfolios outside of your world. And how does that make you feel? Because your wife and you keep going. You keep doing the yin and yang.
Yeah.
But there are people that you've been involved with and in touch and been in relationships with that have left the coop or whatever and have prospered. I mean, how do you react to that?
Well, you know, we talked about what am I most proud of and so forth, and I think there's a couple things. Everybody that's ever worked with us have always left in a good term. Everybody has always left and still become a very good friend of ours. And I think that's really important. I think in life, you know, some of the most important things that have happened to me have been not successful buildings or financial, but the friendships that we've made. And, you know, I'm actually wearing a white collar tonight, but I'm actually a blue collar guy.
Earlier you mentioned something about feeling comfortable. I think you're referring to comfortable with yourself or your place in the world. And I'm curious to know where the discomfort, the distraction, detractors, I mean, where has the negative side resided?
It's always there, and I think it's sort of starting to fester a little bit right now, and I've sort of always blocked it out. And, you know, like my wife's away, I'm trying to soul search, what am I doing? And I think it's really dragging on me now, because I think I've worked like 60, 70-hour weeks for the last 20 years. So I'm actually not 48, I'm actually 70 years old. And I think it's break time. I think I really can only take so much and deal with it properly till it becomes unfun. And I think at this point, you know, as of tonight, I think I'm checking out architecture for a bit. I think...
There are journalists in the room?
Seriously, I think Matthew's going to build the Charmer, and I think I'm shutting it down. And I don't know if it's going to be for a day, a week, a month, forever. I don't know. But for certain, I have to clean up a lot of the stuff that's behind me, catch up, organize it, and complete tasks, because I've got, you know, 95% of everything done. And it's tough. I mean, it's a very brutal business. You have to be brutal to people, which you don't like to do all the time, and you're going to be wonderful to people.